Bonjour, hi. Welcome back to another episode of CanadaOne. I'm your host, Matthew. And I know it's been a while, but a lot of things have gone on. For those of you who don't know, Montreal just had the most rain that it had since, I believe, 1996. Pouring all day and most of the night. The streets were absolutely flooded. And so was my basement because all the storm drains and all the sewers got clogged up and then started backing up into everyone's basements and coming out through the shower drain, etc. Everyone on my street seems to have been flooded, and most people in Montreal did not have a great time. So I was without electricity, I was without internet, especially for the longest period of time, so I wasn't able to get any work done because somehow I was using an exorbitant amount of data over a very short amount of time. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about unemployment, because this is probably the biggest thing I missed or haven't been able to get to, and that is the recent unemployment numbers for Canada. And what do they show? Well, good thing Justin Trudeau loves to expand the size of the government, because that's the only thing that's keeping this economy afloat right now. Part-time jobs were down 64,000. Vast majority of those being in wholesale and retail jobs. But the good news was that full-time employment was up 62,000. So they nearly completely balanced each other out. Only problem is 41,000 of those 62 were government jobs. They were public sector jobs. That is impossible. How is that supposed to be sustainable long term? I thought we were trying to balance the budget, everybody. I thought the whole point was that the budget will balance itself and that higher taxes will be able to somehow invigorate the economy and give money back to the poor. I didn't know it was just continuously expand the size of the government while our actual services don't improve whatsoever. You know, everyone is now complaining that it's like, what do we pay all these taxes for if our roads are still shit, if we can't even handle a little bit of rain? And that's like such a dumb argument because it's, you know, it's once in a blue moon, let's just say, that these types of weather events happen. But again, if the size of the government continues to expand and we keep paying more and more taxes, businesses are going to want to leave, which we've already seen has happened. We've become uncompetitive on the world stage, even in industries that we used to excel in. Why isn't Canada still the leader in steel or in aluminum or even lumber? We can't even do oil jobs anymore because of the carbon tax. Companies cannot continue working under these environments. And a global recession is on the way. We've already had 2 rate cuts this year. We're expecting at least 2 more. America is going to start cutting rates as well because the economy isn't that good right now, especially in Canada. America has a lot more specialized industry when looking at tech, for example, or automotives, or literally any other industry, because America can excel. But Canada can't excel because our productivity's been down, our GDP per capita has been down, and why? Because it always comes down to the same thing. Immigration. It's always been immigration, and it always is immigration. Unemployment went up to 6.4%. Again, much higher than what it is in America. But much worse is that youth unemployment for people aged 15 to 24, up to 13.5% for youth unemployment. It seems like kids are having hard times getting summer jobs. I wonder who's taking all the summer jobs or the low-skilled entry jobs that kids are supposed to take. I wonder. And immigrants who immigrated in the last 5 years, their rate of unemployment is 12.6%. I wonder who's on welfare here. And now I don't want to start this episode off on just anger and hatred. I don't hate. Okay? I'm just saying there's a crisis and that we're continuously barreling towards what's going to happen. We're going to face the consequences, and we can already see it's coming. The recession is coming. We're already in a per capita GDP recession. People are poorer even though the economy is growing because we're flooding the market with more and more people that we cannot handle. And these unemployment numbers are showing it that the only thing that's propping up this economy is the ever-expanding government jobs. Because that's the easiest to put on the numbers. Oh, we lost full-time employment's up and part-time's down. That's good news. No, because it's just us paying for it. It's just a Ponzi scheme. We're just paying for more and more workers, and then they're going to keep increasing taxes, and more businesses are going to leave, and the recession will get worse. We're already seeing we paid all this money for a bunch of EV plants. The government invested billions and billions of dollars into at least 5 different massive plants that were meant to mass produce electric vehicles. And now we're already seeing them pull back, scale back, go back to Ford is now focusing on hybrid and normal gas cars, moving away from their electric vehicles because they're so unprofitable. Ford was losing $40,000 on every electric Mustang or every electric car they were selling. And now we had that plant that just backed out here in Canada, and yet the government's still investing in even more plants. In Ontario, a brand new tire factory for electric vehicles. Apparently EVs need special tires. And the government's going to shell out $500 million for that. So the only thing that's keeping us afloat is a massive public sector that keeps increasing. This is unsustainable. You think this is going to be continuous growth? No. And the only way we can do that is shrinking the size of the government. And do not tell me that the conservatives are going to do anything. I don't know, some conservatard was saying something stupid in the comments about the PPC splitting the vote. Oh, boo-hoo. Yes, the other guy who's exactly the same as the old guy will be so much more different. And we can't let him have only a majority. He needs to get the supermajority. Who cares? Who cares if Trudeau's out or Pierre Poilievre's in? I'm over it. They're the same person. They pander to immigrants. They want to increase the size of the government. They want to increase the public sector. Who cares? They're the same people. Yes, fast track, more immigration, please. Let's get more workers because we have such a worker shortage at a 6.4% unemployment, where youth is at 13.5% unemployment, and even the immigrants that we're bringing in, who are supposedly here to fix the worker shortage, their unemployment is double the average. Is anyone going to talk about that? Is anyone going to, maybe mention that? Well, our housing prices are at all-time highs, while inflation is still raging despite what the government says. Yes, inflation's at 3%. Okay, why is the price of literally everything doubled? Does that sound like 3% to you? We can't even go see a doctor. Nobody can get a doctor because we don't have enough, and we're still bringing in more and more people. And even though the size of the government is massive now, all our infrastructure is garbage. Can somebody please equate the math to me? Oh, but the conservatives are, great. Yeah, maybe they'll cut taxes. No, who cares? Great, a 1% tax cut as we flood the country with 5 million more Indians. Great. Now no one will be able to go to the beaches anymore. And more great news coming out of the Trudeau government to help fix the housing crisis without actually addressing the real issue, which is demand, which is immigration. Their genius financial people came up with this idea. Why don't we make mortgages more affordable? Okay, so what are they going to do? Well, now, generally, what happens is that if you cannot put more than 20% down on your home, the maximum period for your mortgage is 25 years. However, recently conjured up in the minds of the also mighty public sector, why don't we give first-time homebuyers in newly built houses who cannot afford to do the 20% down payment, why don't we let them have 30-year mortgages? Because before, if you had above a 20% down payment, you were allowed to have a 30-year amortization period. But now, even if you don't have it, why not? Let's just give it to you. Let's give you a 30-year mortgage. Yes, because loosening banking restrictions on mortgages is definitely not the way that the United States did it in 2007. Well, obviously it was a while before that, before the recession ultimately came. But loosening mortgage restrictions was the major cause for the financial crash in 2008. And somehow this is going to be more affordable to people. Somehow paying more interest for 5 extra years and maybe cutting off a few $100s a month is going to magically help people more. Maybe if housing prices haven't literally doubled since 2020, maybe something could help. Maybe that would have helped people. Maybe if we built enough houses for the amount of people we have, maybe housing would start going down. But you know why? You know why. And you know exactly what I'm going to say why. 1.2 million people in 1 year come into the country. We build 200,000 houses. Can anybody do the math for me, please? Because it doesn't make sense. And all you shittards who are out here saying that the immigrants, they don't make the housing prices. Yes, they do. And you know they do. It's simple supply and demand. We have too much demand because we have too many people coming in. We need a moratorium on immigration, and I want illegals deported. That is the only way housing will go down. Because I do not want to see the destruction of my neighborhood, of my community, destroying all the single-family houses that have been built since the 1940s, replaced with beautiful apartment and condo buildings. Great, I want to see a 40-story high apartment complex right in my backyard, where when I look out my window, all I see is more apartment complex filled with brown people. Is that the future we all want? Because if it is, bring it on. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. Please build us more apartment. We need more housing units. Right, Pierre Poilievre? Oh, wait. It's almost like their policies are essentially the same. Keep high immigration, build more houses. And isn't it interesting that a vast majority of conservative members of parliament are real estate investors? Who would benefit from housing prices staying high and not collapsing? I wonder. And that gives me so much confidence because now I know the conservatives will really decrease the prices of housing. But the People's Party will split the vote. What can I tell you? I don't really care. Put Jagmeet Singh for all who cares? They're all the same. They're all the same. They're all the worst. Okay? Oh, but the conservatives, but Pierre Poilievre said he's going to stop immigration. No, he won't. Did you see his most recent Instagram post? He's out there in Brampton wearing a turban. So you come to our country and we have to wear your turbans. We have to change our custom to fit you. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You come here, you do things our way. And speaking of Brampton, even more great news out of that beautiful city. It's that beautiful city where there's so much diversity and there's so much culture and the food is so great. In an attempt to get landlords to start getting licenses for their units, because over there, most of the landlords and most of the population is of a certain ethnic background, let's say, or a demographic makeup, where there's a lot of interesting deals that go on. One realtor had a story about finding a house filled with 27 foreign students, all housed in one house. This is what it's come down to. So now, they've been protesting. These landlords have been protesting for months because the city of Brampton wants to start forcing them to get licenses to prove that they're maybe providing adequate services to their tenants. And we know that's not happening, and that's why they're pushing back so hard. But somehow, in an attempt to get them to actually sign these licensing things, they have to give them a few things, right? They have to give the landlords a few concessions. Prove to them that they're worth playing with, that it's worth their while to sign this licensing deal. So what did they announce? All right, you don't need to prove, no more proof of ownership, anybody. You don't need to prove you own the house that you're renting out. Great, my landlord's a squatter now. Isn't that fun? No more criminal record checks. Even better. No need to have detailed floor plans. Why can't we have 50 beds in the basement? No more electrical inspection needed. No more gas inspection needed. And no parking or storage plans needed. Please, just sign the license. Please. You are landlords. You're so important. Can BlackRock just come in and buy everyone out at this point? Can we just make Brampton a BlackRock town? Because this is appalling. What is this? You don't need to prove that you have electricity for your tenants. You don't have to prove that there's gas working. You don't have to provide a floor plan where there's kind of an understanding that you need to provide a basic level of services for your tenants. This is the state of what's happening. This is Canada now. And this is only going to get worse. And if you think this is just a one-off thing, nope, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is not a one-off thing. I don't want to be black-pilled right now because it's looking like it's so over. But there's hope, people. There's still hope that we can fix these things. Because this isn't their country yet. There's still not enough of them to overrule us. Okay? This is still Canada. And now everyone's complaining about the fact that the anti-immigrant sentiment is rising in Canada. I wonder why. Because why do these people do this? Why is there necessary for them to get rid of all of these proofs of ownerships, criminal record checks, detailed floor plans, to get these people to sign landlord leases or licenses from the city to prove that they're good landlords? You used to be able to know your landlord. You used to be friends with him. They used to live in the apartment next to you. Now, you're going to live with 27 other foreign students who maybe they scam the system. Maybe they're here for actual. No, they're not here for school. They're here for work experience at a Tim Hortons and then permanent residency. And guess what? You're going to get it. And you're going to get it even when Pierre Poilievre wins. The state of this country is appalling. I went to the mall yesterday, my local mall. It was packed. And I'm walking around, I'm seeing all the people. It's disgusting now what I'm seeing. It's just, it's no longer a sense of community. It's no longer home. The change in demographics is leading to real changes. I'm walking down these hallways at this mall, looking at the stores, and I'm just hearing people. I'm hearing people at the Bell kiosk speaking a foreign language. I go next to the benches at the food court, and there are people speaking foreign languages. I see people in full burqas speaking foreign languages. There are people out in flip-flops with their feet out, with their pants sagging, wearing oversized hoodies while holding a bottle of Mountain Dew. Our society is so disgusting now. I walk outside, I can't even, I just have a look of disgust on my face. I look around, I'm like, what is this? People lining up to get boba tea. Great. Pay your $9 for your boba tea. And just ignore the fact that everything is collapsing behind us. And nobody cares because they cannot see it for themselves, or they've been told that noticing anything is the issue. Sorry I noticed, I guess. Sorry I noticed that things are changing, and not for the better. And now after saying all this, you're going to be like, all the haters are going to be like, oh, he just hates immigrants. Nope, not true. I just want less of them. We have too many, and they're not integrating. Why can't we ban foreign languages? You know, I work at a Tim Hortons, okay? Occasionally. And I see firsthand the demographics of the society that we've become now. And I cannot stand. If you cannot speak the language, don't come to a store. It should be a law that if you can speak French or English, you can't come in. And yes, the native languages, okay, shut the fuck up. That's not the point. The point is, if you come up to me and you start speaking Mexican, Spanish, okay, I don't want to hear it. All right? Don't speak to me, or don't even speak in your foreign language in this country. All right? It should be punishable by deportation. You are caught in public speaking a foreign language, you should be deported immediately. That's the new policy platform, everybody. I don't want to hear this anymore. Okay? This isn't India. This isn't China. Okay, this isn't Mexico. This is Canada. In Canada, we are a French and British colony. Okay? And those are the only two languages, and Native American. All of them, okay, you can have that, all of them. And that's the only thing I want to hear. French and English. I don't want to have hockey night in Punjab. Okay? And now they're saying, you know, when that first came out, that hockey night in Punjab, right? They're saying, we're not coming for you English speakers. We're not coming for the French speakers. It's all for the immigrants who want to partake in Canadian culture. Partake in it in our language. Okay, you want to partake in it? Please. That's the whole point. You're supposed to partake in it. But you're going to partake in it on our terms, in our language. In Germany, crime is getting so bad, especially from a certain set of demographics, that the AfD, which is the alternative for Deutschland, the right-wing populist party that's gaining much momentum, especially with the youth in Germany, is now proposing reforming crime statistics to restart publishing nationalities and ethnicities for crimes. Because the migrant crime in Germany is getting so bad that despite what the left-hard government wants to say, people are starting to notice a few things. Why is it that Afghans are, 9 times more likely to commit sexual violence against women? Isn't that interesting in Germany? Why is it that so many migrants are on the very generous welfare state that Germany has? Isn't that interesting? Why are there now ghettos in Germany? And I don't mean those types of ghettos. Why are there now ghettos where people just speak Arab? And they feel like they did these interviews. They had news reporters go out to these places where there's high amounts of diversity. And they interviewed the people and they said they love it. By the way, they were speaking Arab. They said they love it because it's just like home. Oh, if it's just like home, why don't you go back? You don't like how we do things here? Leave. Because the crime is getting so rampant and so apparent of who's doing it in Germany that, some people are starting to notice things. And it's almost like everywhere. There's a lot of people, especially what's going on in Great Britain, where you are now being punished if you are a patriot of Great Britain. If you say anything about how there are riots where people are stabbing people, and it's always a certain type of person who are doing all these riots, you get put in prison? Seems odd. And yes, I know a lot of people are now saying that this was Zionist provocation in order to get the Muslims all angry and to start a race battle or a ideological battle within Great Britain. But maybe it's just people who are starting to wake up and starting to notice that demographic change isn't necessarily good, and now you're being punished for speaking up against criminals. And I believe the new Justice Minister of the Labour government just announced that if you served 40% of your prison time, you'll be released for a lot of cases. So things are not looking great for Great Britain, especially for Europe. And we thought our immigration problem was bad. It is. But over there, they're a lot more violent. Oh, they're very violent here too. Let's not kid ourselves. You know, people didn't used to shoot people in Canada. Now it's happening a lot more often. And I wonder who's getting all the guns. Oh, it must be Canadians, huh? I don't care what the piece of paper you have says. You will not be Canadian. Sorry, that's the rules. So I think it's a good thing that German political parties are starting to talk about this issue, because it is very interesting. It's odd, in fact, that all of a sudden it's no longer allowed to publish the ethnic backgrounds or the nationalities of the person committing crimes. Wouldn't you want to know if a certain group of people... No, but if you do that, it's going to create stereotypes. Stereotypes are earned. That's a fact. Stereotypes are, in fact, earned. When a lot of people of a certain nationality start doing crime, maybe it is good to become a little bit more wary of a certain group of people. And now everyone's going to say that sounds very racist. Oh, but haven't you heard of socioeconomic factors? I think it's more like crime is heritable and genetic. And because we are so soft on crime and we let people off and we give people so many second chances and third chances, that now we have serial looters and burglars who go in and out of prison just committing all the crimes. In New York, it was like 1,000 people were causing 70% of all burglaries. And especially in America, where their borders are just wide open and they're going to keep letting all these people in. It's not good. You have to lock up people who do crime. That's just how it has to happen. Because if you let these people procreate and continue doing crime, a lot of cases, it'll lead to not only a bad socioeconomic situation for the child growing up in a bad neighborhood where all their influence is bad, and then all the music they listen to is also promoting these bad behaviors. You're also going to have an aspect that is genetic, where you are going to be more aggressive, where you are going to be, more rebellious, and where you are going to be more prone to committing crimes. It is not a blank slate, but it is a mix of these factors. And let's say you watch your father go out and steal things. Is that the great role model you want to create? No, so you have to lock up people for doing crimes. And the crimes, the punishment for crimes have to be harsher. I'm not against giving people second chances. But if you mess up that second chance, you should be done. I believe you should probably double all the, you do any crime anywhere, the punishment should be double what it is. Prison time should be double what it is already. And then if you get arrested again, you should be done for. You should be put in prison for life. And I'm not against torture. I think we should torture criminals. We should torture, especially if you do any crime against children. Anyway, you should be tortured, chemically castrated, and maybe put to death. And I had this interesting, not argument, but conversation with somebody who said that regarding a new law in one of the U.S. states where sex offenders will get the death penalty. And they said, I'm not in favor for that because it's going to promote murder instead of rape. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I disagree with that premise because there are a lot of lower level perpetrators of, let's say, rape or whatever, sexual assaults, that I think would be greatly deterred with the idea that their life is gone if you do these crimes. Then there's obviously the serial criminals who might kill some people. And that's why I'm not against torture. I don't believe that more people will be murdered. I believe less people will be raped if we enact the death penalty in that situation. And I think it's a net benefit. And I think people need to be scared of the police, or at least get to know the police and have more police. In order to fix the rampant crime that's been increasing almost linearly since Justin Trudeau has taken prime ministership, I think what we need to do is take the Canadian Army and put them in the highest crime neighborhoods, triple the cops, put the Army in all the high crime neighborhoods and have them police those places for a while. Then you triple, double, I don't really care, all the criminal penalties for any crime, and we reinstate the death penalty. And we bring back torture. And if you are an immigrant, I don't care if you have permanent residency or citizenship, if you do any crime, you should be deported. That's how you fix crime, everybody. That's how you do it. It's not by getting rid of hunters' guns, because criminals are going to still get guns. In Great Britain, they don't have that many guns, and yet people are getting stabbed left and right. Companies are now making jackets that are stab-proof because you can't walk around London without watching your back. And people like to say that immigration isn't the cause of higher crime. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In a lot of cases, it is. You take mass immigration mixed with non-integration for those immigrants, mixed with soft on crime policies, mixed with less police, mixed with bail reform and no bail policies, you're going to get rampant crime where now you can't even have your car in your driveway in Toronto without it getting stolen. And the Conservatives, maybe they'll be a little bit tougher on crime, but again, they're not going to stop the big issue. The big I issue, as I like to call it. The big immigration. Anyways, thank you as always for listening. We'll catch you next time. Stay Canada first. Stay Canada One.